Oh, man. I don't know if you guys are expecting me to come in with something clever that time, but...
I'm just watching Bob drum. I think he's drumming.
Those are maracas?
Yeah, I thought they were maracas. Which is not. I don't think there are any maracas in this song. It would be cool if there were, though, because everybody else is jamming out. And there's just one dude, like the singer's girlfriend.
Like the cowbell.
Yeah.
The cowbell. The triangle.
Uh-huh.
You know what? I didn't think of it. You should have opened up with Meatloaf.
Oh,
I don't have the rights, so
R.I.P.
Can't do that.
R.I.P.
Yeah, I did it on Facebook and Instagram. I had said his name is Robert Paulson.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
And then R.I.P. on Facebook, I said Meatloaf, because I didn't think people would get it. And I had people correcting me. Yeah, and that's fine. But they were correcting me. He was in a movie called, everybody knows the movie. He was in Fight Club. And his character dies in the movie. And there's like a breakdown, of like the weird stuff going on. It's a really poignant part, and they kind of make a mockery out of the guy's like, he's a real person, he died, he has a name, his name is Robert Paulson. And then because everybody's kind of brainwashed, they all start chanting his name is Robert Paulson. So it was kind of a reference to that. But I just spent all day explaining that to people who hadn't seen the movie Fight Club. So I'd say of my generation, I thought like Fight Club was like a movie that we all kind of grew up on. So I remember watching it over and over and over again when I was a teenager, and not realizing that like the feelings I was getting from it are like the exact feelings that they're mocking in the movie, because the movie's about toxic masculinity. But like when you're 15 watching it, you're like, yeah, man, like I shouldn't know what a duvet is. That's some crap, like I should fight, and not realizing that you're completely missing the point. Anyway, hey everybody, welcome to VM Live. My name is Jack Rollins. I'm the host for the show, and with me, as always, the co-host, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Jeffrey Hoffman. What's going on, brother?
Not a whole lot. I'm really excited to be here.
You sound like it.
You know what? I'm excited about this place. I'm excited this week. I've had some good conversations, and just met some new people. Some new people have joined,
Yes.
and I've had a moment. I think it was last week somebody joined. I voice verified them, and they came in, and they were just, the things that they said after they joined were just, they literally brought tears to my eyes when I was telling them to my daughter. I'm really happy. Happy about what we're building.
Awesome. And we also have Admin Bob here. What's going on, dude?
Not much. Just happy it's Friday.
Okay. And we have Adro. Dude, where have you been? I think it's been since before Christmas that we had John last.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. There's something I have to do, and before in December, you and I made a bet that the loser of the Browns-Raiders game had to purchase the other team's hat and wear it for the show. And luckily for Adro's personal pride and fashion sense, the Raiders beat the Browns / because they were all out with COVID, a bunch of guys that randomly showed up. But anyway, so I have my hat.
Still won.
And I'm going to wear it. And if you're just listening to this, you can go to the YouTube channel.
I'm getting a boner already.
Trying not to make a bunch of noise.
Oh, look at that.
That's pretty good on you.
Look at that.
Yeah,
You look sexy, bro.
It's good logo.
I look awesome. Yeah.
Looks cool.
I'm really happy that it the colors and everything. I would have felt bad for you, Adro.
It does look.
It actually probably looks better than a Browns hat does on you.
The Browns hats, Browns colors. I wear a lot of like brown and that, earth tones, but Browns colors, there's no way to look like cool in brown and orange. I mean, you're just kind of stuck. There's nothing you can do from there.
Very 80s, kind of like late 70s, early 80s, kind of shag carpet look to it.
Yes, that describes Cleveland just in general. It's just kind of
also the last time Cleveland won anything, right?
Yeah. How did the Raiders do? How did the Raiders do in their playoffs?
Let me check the playoff schedule.
Yeah,
the Raiders were in there.
Okay, well, just real quick though, but they're still doing the same thing the Browns players are doing right now.
No,
well, the ones that aren't in jail,
1 week later, though.
They got 1 extra week pay.
I will say though that even though the Raiders got eliminated from the playoffs, the Raiders are the VM champions, and let me explain why.
Sure.
They beat Bob's Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
They beat your Browns.
Mm-hmm.
They beat. We have a Steeler fan in there somewhere. I think Commander. They beat them.
Mm-hmm.
So the Raiders beat every team that we have fans of in the server.
Yeah, that we're aware
Jeff
of. Jeff
doesn't know sports, so.
Just like how many home runs did they hit?
Right,
I'm just nodding.
He was like, "Yeah, those Raiders came in 400 par. It was pretty dope."
Yeah, maybe Tiger.
Can I get a just win, baby?
Just win, baby.
Yeah.
How's that? And then they didn't. It's kind of weird in hindsight because I was going to cheer for them because the Raiders are, since the Browns didn't make it into the playoffs, the Raiders are the closest. They're the Browns.
We suck as well.
Yeah. So it was I can, and frankly, I hated the Bengals. So, everybody's Ohio, everybody's go Bengals. I'm like, why would I do that? No, no, I'm going to go to the Raiders because they're irrelevant to me and 90% of the time. So, but just like my Browns, my Raiders let me down. And then that week, I also lost to Adro in the fantasy football league. So it was just not a good in the championship. Not a great football week for me, but
it was a close matchup, man. We were back and forth. So
yeah,
you put up a good fight.
Yeah. And I feel bad for Bob because Bob didn't know that after the Thursday game, you can still adjust he would set his lineup on Thursdays and then watch his team all get COVID or something like that and just be like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And then Jeff thought he was supposed to set his lineup week 1. And then he just deleted the app. Yeah, he just deleted the app.
I just draft and then I'm done.
Yeah.
I think that's how it works. Right?
So, so it was an interesting fantasy football season, but it was a lot of fun. For those of you who are watching, we are going to be doing a live Q&A with the guys on the server. We also had some questions that were submitted through Instagram. For those of you who are listening live, if you go to the VM live text chat channel, you can ask your questions. You can, comments, all that kind of stuff, because this episode is going to be a Q&A episode. We've had a lot of people asking for something like this, and frankly, I don't know why, because none of us are experts. We're proudly not experts. And so the fact that people are like, we want to get your opinions on various things, generally about being a man, men's perspectives, things we do, whatever. So I don't. We just kind of gave in to said, let's try it. So to preface this, just to repeat it, we are not experts. So do not take anything we say without a giant grain of salt, because we don't want you to sue us if you follow one of our suggestions. So we're releasing anything for that, just to make sure. So
it's like when you text and you add the LOL at the end, so that if you do it,
I'll be over at 9.
I can't get in trouble.
I was joking. It was a joke. It was clearly a joke. So you guys haven't seen any of the questions. All of the questions that were asked on Instagram will be asked anonymously. Even the ones in the server will be asked anonymously, but people that are in the server will be able to see them. We're currently working on a way to allow people to consistently ask questions for us to then do these episodes on a regular basis through the server in an anonymous fashion. I think Evan's working on some bots and stuff like that to try to figure that out. So that way, we think that if people can ask a question without anybody knowing who they are, that they might ask more open, honest questions. Versus if we can tell who they are, there might be some embarrassment there. But if you're listening live, don't worry about it. I probably won't even know. I'll be checking the chats. I won't even know who's asking the questions. I'm just gonna roll through them as they come in. So the first question we have, you're going to see a reoccurring theme, not necessarily today, but with the questions. I got a lot of them, and I'm going to try to spread them out over multiple episodes, or maybe I should, so we can do like a greatest hits episode where we just talk about our balls, because there's a lot of questions from women about our dicks.
Oh my gosh.
So the first question is, do guys use the same razor to shave their balls as they use to shave their face?
Who shaves their balls?
Who shaves their face?
Not Bob, apparently not any of us anymore.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Bob's over there like,
yeah, I got rid of the mustache.
Everyone's got grew back.
I picked one, and I've got a beard. So pick.
I personally, I use a different one because I use, different attachments and what have you. There are body ones that are supposed to be better, and then I use a combination of like wet shaving and clippers on my face. But yeah, they are different ones. Different devices. Yes, different devices. I have I have a little charging station and a whole section set up for that. Right, what about you guys?
Obviously, by what I said, I don't do anything. Of course, I'm not in a relationship, and I don't know if that impacts it being in a relationship with someone, because she expresses that she likes that.
Yeah.
So, right. Although I did think that the Gronk commercial for that was kind of funny.
I don't remember it.
I haven't seen that one either.
It was like last year during the playoffs and stuff. They had a commercial where he and his real life girlfriend were doing a commercial for, I don't even remember what the exact name it was, but for a ball shaver.
Was it that like trimmer, whatever that, like the mower or whatever they call that?
I think so.
Yeah.
No,
and they're doing like the the euphemisms and everything, and she talks about like shaving, and he stands up behind a bush like naked, but you can't see because the bush is there. But they were funny. I don't really like him that much, but it was a funny commercial.
Okay. All right. So Bob is going au natural right now. Nothing wrong with that. What about you, Adrian?
Definitely different ones. Kind of like what you said, Jack. There's it's like different stuff for each one. So like if I use the one for the face, if I were to use that one on my balls, I might not have balls anymore.
Yeah, there's a lot of nooks and crannies down there. Yeah, a lot of nooks and crannies down there that you got to worry about. Yeah. Before the show, I had kind of I had read this was the only question that I had told Jeff about. And it led to a discussion about trimming and the different techniques and the different things people do. And I think, Bob, the way you kind of framed it, I think a lot of it comes just down to, if you're with someone, what they like, there should be a little bit of respect for what they like. Like if you're going to be asking them to do some stuff, you should make sure everything's good down there. But so the general consensus is you use two different devices, one specifically for your face and one specifically for downstairs. And we should look up the name. Evan's on here. We should look up the name of that it is a specific body trimmer that's for that, and we should see if we can get them to sponsor us. We'll pedal there.
Brought to you by Weed Whacker.
Yeah, I think it's called like the lawn mower or something like that. And I hope they do like a female version called the hedge trimmer, just to fill out the line. Yeah,
bushwhacker.
The weed whacker for the weed whacker for your face. Okay, so
bush hog.
Oh, okay. So this next question popped in from the server. The person wants to know what it's like being an admin on VM. Jeff, why don't we start with you, because you were the OG admin as the founder of Visible Man.
And to be a moderator or an admin, the question. Moderator, yes. I love what we're doing, like I said before, and I've always got my phone with me, and when I see somebody pop into the server almost 24/7, literally, which is probably not healthy, if I see somebody come in, I want to make sure that they feel included and welcomed. So it's like somebody showing up at your front door and you're like, I'll get to it in a little bit. It's like, for me, this is a home that we're creating for guys that are, I want them to feel welcome. So So there's a bit of that. It's like having somebody in your house where I want them to feel welcome. Yeah. But there's also kind of there's a feeling of wanting to keep an eye on conversations to make sure that we're consistent with the vision of what we're trying to do. You know, mm-hmm. we've had offshoots of conversations where that are just not appropriate, or somebody's being a little too belligerent or aggressive, and mm-hmm. we're here for men's mental health and for suicide prevention. So if it gets a little too off, you know, keeping an eye on that, I think, is kind of a constant thing. So
yeah,
welcoming people in and keeping an eye on conversations is kind of what it's like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's really rewarding, you know, when you see people that otherwise didn't know each other connecting. I remember when, you know, like when Adro and Tim jumped in, and you could see that mm-hmm. there was like a friendship building there.
Yeah.
You know, like that's pretty.
Did we just become best friends?
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah, you said that. Somebody said that.
Yeah, and it's. I think that's really cool to kind of see that happen, and to see people opening up and kind of getting out of their shell a little bit and helping each other. But yeah, on the other side of it, it is a big challenge, because there's a balance between allowing freedom of expression and you know, respecting that, especially with different cultures, because we are worldwide. And then also, yeah, you know, you can't say that, man. Like, we don't represent that here, and to kind of stick with those rules. And that's the biggest challenge for me, is describing something that's kind of ethereal, you know, when it comes to what we're going for. Because we sit here and we say we're you know, trying to fight, you know, male suicide and those things. But when it comes to how we do things, kind of the spirit of it, that's a lot harder to kind of grasp. So the challenge to me is trying to kind of explain that and help other people see it when, you know, they can't, they don't, you know, and unfortunately every once in a while they refuse to, you know, but we do take that incredibly seriously. So Bob, Adro, the next couple of minutes before the break.
I would just add to that. For me, I love it. I really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge is participating all the time, or not all the time, but as much as I can. Because like during the day I'm at work.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously my job is my priority.
Mm-hmm.
So monitoring conversations, monitoring new people coming in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing that on my phone, kind of like you mentioned, Jeff, you know, you're on your phone, have your phone with you. But depending on what's going on at work, it's like I might see somebody come in, but I'm in the middle of something and I can't welcome them,
mm-hmm.
you know, and, you know, maybe can't even pick the phone up to like message somebody. Like, I know, Jeff, I've seen you like, hey, you know, or Jack, I've seen you like, hey, you know, so can you jump in and voice verify this person?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's, for me, that's the challenging part, is just being in there as much as I want to be in there. But I agree with everything everybody said. You know,
mm-hmm.
You know, I enjoy like monitoring the conversations, and, you know, we all have our different tactics, but like, you know, if a conversation is getting too intense, but it's not a bad conversation, it's not interject, hey guys, can you take this to a side channel?
Mm-hmm.
Or if you see it really getting out of hand, or somebody that needs help, even like, I know we have the visible professionals, and we can tag a visible professional. Hey, can you come into this channel and help this guy? They seem to be spiraling and we need assistance, because, you know, obviously we're not equipped for that, but I'll let Adro go now.
1 minute.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here we go. So you don't get paid. There's no overtime pay.
Right.
You have to work long hours, weekends, knock shift. Like, my goodness, man. Like, I joked with Jack earlier, we need to get HR, man. This is unfair labor practices.
Yeah.
Like, come on, Bob, help us out, man. No, but no, seriously though, it's like I really like connecting with people who you would have never met, like outside of there, and just being able to provide something for people who don't get that normally, which is like, you know, men supporting other men showing kindness and, you know, genuine concern for them, you know, without expecting something in return, you know, like a lot of people don't get that. So being able to see that, being able to do that, and being able for that to be done for me it's awesome.
That's beautiful, man. All right, we're going to continue the conversation after the break. You guys should actually be able to hear the music now.
Yeah, we can hear it. Yeah.
Last couple of episodes, I didn't realize the noise suppression from Zoom or whatever was in. And like Bob was sitting there like dancing, and then afterwards he's like, I didn't hear any of that. And he was on beat and
going a cappella.
Right, yeah. What if I play like so serious classical music and Bob's like...
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In case it wasn't incredibly obvious, we're back. So we are doing the live Q&A that has been oft requested. So far, we've covered whether or not men use the same razor to shave their balls as they do to shave their face. The general consensus was no.
I don't do it, but even I would never use the same razor.
Right.
Come on.
And then we talked a little bit about what it's like to be an admin on Visible Man. So, the next question, I don't remember where this one came from. I'm assuming this means like in a relationship, romantic relationship. I guess obviously it would be a relationship of some sort. But what do men like to receive as gifts? The reason I'm interested in this one, we had a conversation on the server probably a year ago, more than a year ago, about why guys never get like romantic
we don't
gifts.
get flowers.
Like our idea is like, they were like, well, your Valentine's Day gift is a blowjob or something like that, which is great. But we never get flowers, and there's nothing inherently feminine about like a rose. I mean, the Godfather is famously pictured with a rose on his tuxedo. Like there's nothing. It's a rose. Like most people like roses, but guys never get any of that stuff. Yeah. And I had mentioned that to my partner, and she bought me for Valentine's Day a rose bush, which is still alive.
Nice.
So I'm pretty proud of myself.
Still alive.
There. Yep. It used to sit here in the desk, but then it got big enough that I have it in a big pot, and right now it's out in the garage. Overwintering because it's negative
Jack's
14 out. Yes, yeah. I'm not trimming that one. But we tend not to get romantic, at least in my experience, in heterosexual relationships. So as guys that have been in relationships and stuff like that, what kind of gifts do you like to get? If someone want somebody, I'm gonna kind of say if someone wants to show you, they love you, like romantic kind of things, because everybody wants a PlayStation 5, like that would be awesome. But those kind of thoughtful things. Like, what do you guys?
The first thing that comes to mind for me is something thoughtful. I know that sounds kind of like oversimplified, but
right,
it shows that they're paying attention, because you're right. I mean, it's easy to like, isn't there like the compliment to Valentine's Day is like steak and blowjob day or something. Yeah. It's like sex. I mean, sex is great, sure. But like to feel appreciated and seen is, to have somebody be like, you love this one character in that one movie, and I'm going to get you that something about him, or just a note that's or a day that is just having some, for me, to have some thoughtful things that are planned out. Like, I know that you like this meal, so I've made it for you. Little things. For me, it's little things, I think.
Yeah. I one anniversary or Valentine's Day or something like that. No, it was my birthday. My partner wrote for the month of February, because my birthday's in February, she wrote that year, I think it was 28 slips. And on each slip of paper, there was something that she loved or appreciated or whatever about me. And I was supposed to look at one of them. It was awesome. And I loved it, and I cherish it. And I actually was looking to do something similar for her. And there's a company called NoteCube that does this, and it's in it comes in like a really cool wooden box. Jeff, you could just build the box, but it looks really nice. So if people are looking for like a nice, really thoughtful, really personal gift, it's called NoteCube. I think they're worth it. She loved it. We know a couple people who have gotten them from that. Because that is like the definition of personal, because
you put the notes in the box and you
get a box and then they open it up and you can pick however, up to 500, almost like little business cards, and they're just, you can write whatever you want, but generally it's reasons why I love you. And, and that works for multiple relationships. It doesn't have to be romantic, but, things like that are really touching to me.
It sounds kind of similar to what I did for my daughter when she went off to college, and I made like 40 open me when cards, put them in envelopes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of them, like open me when you're sad, open me when you're hungry, and, put a little note in there for her. And then, if it was open when you're hungry, put like a gift card in there for Dunkin' Donuts or something.
That's cool.
Oh, that's cool.
That's really thoughtful.
Yeah. That's really thoughtful.
So Valentine's Day, let's just narrow it down. Everybody here in this situation is in a relationship. Jeff, you said something thoughtful,
Which
which
a relationship?
Yeah, right.
What are you talking about?
Bob, when a man and a woman love each other, they come together.
Sorry, it's been a while.
Valentine's Day.
So we covered Jeff, who went super basic and said something thoughtful. Adro, what would you like?
So I have a big issue with sex or like blowjobs and stuff like that being like given as like a gift, like, and that's just from my personal experience, like it really like rubs me the wrong way.
I'm with you. It's that and a reward. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
It shouldn't be used for that kind of stuff, but it is, and it's like accepted. Right. Like that's acceptable, to do that.
Yeah. So I don't. Yeah. But for me, like it's going to be a little bit different because sort of like what Jeff said, like thoughtful, but my thoughtful is like different. Like, I love sports. So it's like but I really have a hard time getting myself like stuff, like, so I, up until recently, like I wouldn't buy myself stuff, but I would always say what I like, stuff that I want, so it's like, if my partner were to get me, like a Raider shirt or like an A's hat or something like that, right? Or even better, like tickets to a game. Oh my God. Like when I was so before my ex-wife, like the girl I was with, for my birthday, which is in March, she got me tickets for the Warriors. She got her dad had like a really good job, and like like one of his clients got him like box seats to the Warriors versus Lakers game, and this is back when like the Lakers still had Kobe. And so, he had 2 tickets, so he gave them to her. And then, she gave them not just for me and her, like for me, and I could take one of my friends. And she specifically said, don't take me, like take one of your friends, go have fun. And so that was like a fun ass, and that was one of like the best birthday gifts I've gotten. That's awesome. That was pretty cool.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think so. The thing is just pay attention. What do you guys think about getting the traditional romantic gifts that we think of guys giving, generally girls? Because again, I don't personally think roses specifically are, feminine. I saw a TikTok or something that said that, the first flowers a guy usually receives are at his funeral. Which seems about right.
That is that is accurate. Yeah,
that's about right.
Chocolate is.
I was gonna say a cookie bouquet. Chocolate chip cookie bouquet, man. I'm there. That'd be awesome.
Edible arrangements. Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say edible underwear.
What?
You're horny, bro.
Yeah,
Valentine's is, you gotta wait a couple more weeks, bro.
Yeah. You can just go buy Fruit Loops. It's the same thing, but it's a lot cheaper.
No, but I have no issues with getting like flowers or chocolates and stuff like that. Like I am the person, like I like the color, I like the energy, I like the feel they bring to a room, the smell. Like
flowers would be good.
I'm a dude who I will go to stores and I get myself like, flowers. And obviously like, it's awesome. Like my girls are there, so they're like, oh, get like the pink one or whatever. But it's like, I would just get whatever looks good, like it doesn't matter.
Yeah. That's one
I've
thing.
done that too. Like I've come home randomly. My daughter's like, what are the flowers for? I'm like, I wanted to make the house look nice and smell nice.
That's good. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I like that you guys do that. I've bought plants. I've never bought like bouquets or stuff like that because I've done gardening. So like I just bring stuff in. But that is one thing though. If you want to be picking people up, that kind of stuff, or impress somebody, have a live plant in your house. You know, because that shows that you can keep something alive, and it has a lot of benefits. But so we're A-okay on things like
Jeff
flowers.
has a ton of them in his basement.
Yeah. No, he doesn't. Yeah. He burned the whole thing down last week.
That's why Jeff's getting laid the most.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You know,
would you like to see my basement?
Yeah,
that sounds like Jeffrey Dahmer or something.
Do you want to come into my basement and see my kale?
Yeah.
Funny side story to that, kind of like along those lines. It's like I'm a sneakerhead. I have a ton of sneakers and I keep them super clean. So when I go out somewhere, I get a ton of like, man, like, are those shoes brand new? I'm like, no, these shoes like 5, 6, 7, sometimes 10, over 10 years old. I just take care of them. So when a girl asks me that, one of my lines is something along the lines of like, you see how good I take care of my shoes? Imagine how good I'm gonna take care of you.
Because I'm paying attention to my shoes all the time. So just be ready for that.
Shoes are a good way to judge how well a man takes care of himself.
Yeah, that's true.
But I've heard.
You know where I stand.
What do you guys think about stuff like jewelry? I mean, that's the go-to.
It depends on what it is. So, I mean, I think that goes along with kind of the running theme we've talked about in response to this question of paying attention. I mean, obviously with people, there's obvious stuff. Like anyone who knows me knows, hey, I like the Dallas Cowboys. Hey, I like Spider-Man. You can see there's one up there behind me.
You have a glass too.
Your cup, yeah.
Yes.
You pay attention, see?
Oh yeah, see?
But I mean, that's the obvious stuff. So I agree with what Jeff was saying too, where like I could be having a conversation with someone and maybe flipping through pictures on my phone, like, oh, I really love this picture of me and my daughter. And then if like Valentine's birthday, whatever comes around and they give me like a framed print of that or something, it shows, again, they're paying attention. They saw something. And I had a friend who did that. I mean, it was just a friend, but I mean, again, I was like, oh, cool. Wow, that was really awesome. It's like one of the best gifts I ever got. So I think everything that we've talked about is really good. The flowers, you know, the obvious gifts, the not so obvious gifts that show you're paying attention. And jewelry. I mean, I wear a necklace. My daughter got me for Christmas. So yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So the main thing is just be thoughtful and put some effort into it. And sex should not be a gift. Sex should be part of a loving.
On Valentine's.
Well,
I mean, if she wants to buy a sexy outfit that she's gonna wear, that's fine.
But see, like that to me, that there's some effort put into that. I imagine anyway. You know,
it's like nothing where it's like I didn't do anything, so I'm gonna.
It's like I'm the gift, and it's like okay, all right. So yeah, put a little effort into it. Let me see. What do men talk about when women aren't around? That is such a wide. That is such a wide open.
I don't know that we do though. I don't know that we do.
Talk about women.
No, I mean that was just like a.
Well, I mean,
answer, but
I mean, I think once you get like this group of guys doesn't, but we've already established that like me and Jeff and Bob were kind of in the locker room
what
chat
are we doing in Cleveland?
was like, a lot different. Well, we talked about VM, but
business trip.
Yeah, and I argued with somebody the whole time.
I don't know. I was out running and going to Chinese bakeries.
But we have established that like our version of locker room chat was vastly different than Adro's when so like we say, and just because we personally don't just sit around and talk about women like hot chicks, man, doesn't mean other guys don't. It's just I personally. Yeah, I don't know. I don't sex unless it's I don't know, part of a more in-depth conversation or something. I think we talk about a lot of the same stuff that women talk about. Just
I don't know. I think that we talk about 95% small talk, but it's a way of assessing each other.
I think it depends on like
who you're hanging out with, right?
Who it is, yeah.
And not only small talk like hey, how was your day, but more of like secondary things. I like in the gym at work when I used to go to the office, like we didn't talk about like I hooked up last night and this is what she looked like and this is like there's none of that. It's connecting.
Well, like
but like
there's a guy at work and and he'll stop in once in a while in the morning, and we'll talk about, whatever Disney Plus show, Boba Fett, Mandalorian, guy. We talk about that stuff because we kind of connect on that level, and that's what we talk about.
That's kind of what I'm saying. I think
Adro, we talk about the Cowboys and the Raiders, and
I think it covers, vast different things. But I think, and this is one of the reasons we have the show. We brought up that kind of fly on the wall kind of thing. And in my experience, outside of this bubble, the depth of conversations about how we're doing and what we're experiencing, and those kind of things don't happen. There tends to be, and this is just my experience, but more of kind of a quiet acknowledgement that something's wrong. Because if it's your friend, you probably should pick up on that. But there's kind of kind of a weird crosstalk or something that happens where, you'll say a joke or something and it's kind of a code for I'm here for you, I love you, that kind of stuff. Let's go get a beer, and you sit there and you throw darts and you don't talk about it unless one of you gets too drunk, and then just, it happens. But it seems like there's those undertones and it's not as overt as it is here.
That's a better way to describe it. Like what I was saying, how it was kind of a 95% just talking around the topic almost.
Yeah. Because I've had more in-depth conversations with you guys than I have with, any other male person in my life, throughout my life.
Same here.
There's a safety. And that's one of the things we're trying to show, is that you can have those conversations with the right people, and you can be somebody that can, have those conversations, directed towards you. You can be a safe person. But in my experience, we're not doing the I banged that chick last night, that was awesome. Because if I said that, unless she was famous or something, nobody would care here, for one.
Right. They'd be like, dude, why are you bringing that up?
Why?
That's kind of awkward.
Well, like Bob said, it kind of depends on who you're talking to, because it's like, if you go out with a group of let's say 4 of your single friends, you're gonna talk about that, especially it's because I get that a lot right now, people constantly asking me, are you dating someone, are you dating yet? But it's because I'm in the divorce process. It's I was with my ex for a long time. I feel people, guys, especially guys, want to see me happy, and their version of happiness is more like, you need to get laid, bro.
And to go back to my initial response, what do you guys talk about when not around women? And I said women. I wasn't necessarily even meaning it in that way of, I was banging this chick, but sometimes when I call Jeff and talk to Jeff, and I'm talking about, there's this girl I'm interested in, how should I don't know what to do. How should I approach her? Should I text her? Should I call her? What should I do? So talking about women, but in the sense of, hey, here's someone I met that I'm interested in. Here's a conversation we had. What do you make of this conversation?
I think it's a lot softer than the impression might be.
Yeah, I will say, Okay.
We're going to go to break. We'll be right back. I'm not going to say who asked this question. But somebody did submit this question to me through Instagram, and they are one of the people in this recording. They were asking if Jack Rollins is the best lover in Ohio, and I can't answer that because I haven't technically had sex with myself, so wouldn't know. Well, I know I'm good at hand jobs. There's one thing, but I know what I like.
That mystery solved.
But, I can't answer that for sure. Another sex-related question. In Ohio,
I'll call it.
Ohio is for lovers, so that is a thing. But one question that
I thought that was Virginia.
No, Virginia is for cousins. One question, semi-related to lovemaking.
Oh boy,
this is something that I've heard come up before, and I find it kind of funny. Guys complaining about condoms and them not being they're big enough for the guy.
Not big enough?
To women. Yeah. And I'm just going to throw it out here and say that you can look these up on YouTube. If you get bored one night, you can get a condom. You can pull those things over your leg. You can pull them over your head. I had a friend do that once in college. It was hilarious. He doesn't know I still have a picture of it. Luckily for him, it was taken on a BlackBerry, so it's completely unrecognizable. And he had a condom. BBM, bro. Yeah, and he had a condom over his face, so you couldn't tell who he was anyway. But anyway, yeah, that's a bullshit excuse. So if a guy says that to you,
wait, what's the question?
They were asking if, can you really be too big for condoms? Because apparently that's something that
they make
up.
Specific ones like Magnums for
you know what's funny though? This is brilliant. So Magnum, I heard this in an article and it's true. It was a Trojan. They make the Magnum condoms. They're only slightly bigger than regular condoms. And they do that, yeah. So like guys who are, standard size or a little bit under or whatever can put them on and feel like, yeah, man, I'm filling out this Magnum condom. I must be huge. And I'm like, that is freaking brilliant. I mean, it's only smart. I mean, what they should do is they should just make them the same, it's the same thing. And then just put it in a different box because no one would know, I imagine, But yeah, the question had to do with, and it's silly because I've seen, like I said, I've seen people take standard lifestyle, whatever condoms and put them over their head. So they stretch.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's a massive issue. On to the more
no pun intended.
Yeah, right. Okay, so speaking of sex, somebody asks, my boyfriend always wants to have sex. How do I tell him no without hurting his feelings? So now we're on to advice and not just our opinions. So I'm going to repeat. We don't know what we're talking about, so if this backfires, that's not our fault.
LOL, JK.
Jeez. So my boyfriend is always asking for sex. How do we tell him no?
Yeah. I feel like at first there should be, if there hasn't been, a conversation about boundaries, consent, those kind of things.
Oh, yeah.
Of a no means no. It doesn't mean I don't love you. It doesn't mean, I'm not interested in you. It just means whatever it means at that moment, and personally, I'm of the kind of belief that there shouldn't need to be a follow-up, Like,
what do you mean follow up? Like an excuse?
Yeah. Like if you don't want to, you shouldn't have to sit there and then why? Well, because my leg hurts or whatever. But it's, it's tricky because I'm assuming this person isn't denying sex, or withholding sex. I'm assuming they're just not in the mood in the moment, but I don't know because they're not here to do that. Because they do say purposely withholding sex, for various reasons outside of just not wanting to have sex is not cool. But I think once the conversation happens, then it's up to him to respect your boundaries and respect the rule of consent and not be a dick about it. And if he's a dick about it, that's his problem. That's not your problem.
Yeah.
So that's those my 2 cents.
Yeah. I mean, not to get too technical on the question, but I think it depends what does she mean by all the time? It's every time they get together, that's all he wants to do is have sex. So there's not any expansion of the relationship. Because I agree. There should be a discussion of boundaries and what are you doing in the relationship other than sex to get to know each other and learn about each other.
Yeah, just imagining like I know what you mean by that, but I assume they were probably living together and it's a nightly thing. But just I can see them just meeting up, going to a party or meeting up doing this, and he just wants to have sex. He's like,
you want to?
I'm trying to meet my parents. Can we wait a couple hours?
Come on, they're not here for 10 minutes. Let's go.
Right. Yeah, there is a question. I have trouble with this because I'm trying to take this person just at their word. Because there's so many different avenues you could go down it, but you don't want to get. It's difficult because we don't want to get into a blaming situation or something like that, and nobody here is doing that. So it's challenging because
I know, at least speaking for myself, when that's happened to me, is I'm looking for some kind of validation or confirmation or feedback that that I'm important and that like sex is obviously good, but like it's when that's happened to me, I'm looking for more than that. I'm looking for comfort and safety, I guess. And so if somebody turns it down, it feels like a rejection every time. So even if there's some kind of somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, there's a TikToker that I think all of us follow that are on TikTok. Her name's Emily W. King, I think, and she does a lot of dating perspective kind of things. And one of her most popular videos is complimenting a guy, because we don't get those. We don't get, in the kind of the bigger part that I'm getting with this is that we tend not to get the validation. We tend not to get seduced. We tend to be the ones having, doing the work, doing the pursuing, doing the seduction, doing the, the fluffy words and the roses and the, we don't get that very often back. So for a lot of guys, that's kind of like, we want to feel desired. We want to feel wanted. We want to feel those things. And that's kind of an opportunity that we're trying to get to have that. Also, some people are just horny, and that's, acceptable too, as long as there's those conversations. But but I think that's interesting, Jeff, that a lot of times it's not about the physical pleasure. It's about the things that make sex really amazing, which is the deeper level connection that you're seeking out in that moment. And when that connection's severed, especially without explanation or whatever, like that can be really devastating. It leaves you questioning a lot of things. So I think the rule with this, have that conversation, keep communication open, and don't be afraid to say no. It's at some point, it's not your responsibility to worry. I mean, you want to worry about his feelings. Obviously, you care about him, but how he reacts is how he reacts. He's an adult.
Don't take one for the team and just kind of
because that turns it into a chore, and then it gets weird.
Exactly.
So no good. Okay, next question. I'm gonna stick with sex on this one, I guess. Why are this person all caps? All caps.
Oh wow.
It's a serious.
Why are all guys obsessed with anal sex?
That's pretty, I think stereotype question.
Yeah, obviously.
All guys.
There's anger there, so I think there was anger there.
That's
on one hand, that's not true. Not all guys are.
No.
I've never done it, and I would never want to.
That's not something I'm into either.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So the short answer is not all guys are.
Not all guys. Yeah.
I would imagine the attraction to it. Well, I can say why I'm attracted to it is because there's an element of
taboo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to be doing this.
Yeah.
And that, and it feels good, but, and I think like, I don't know, there's a comedian or something just talking about how like guys, when they grow up, there's like an element of just wanting to stick their junk in anything. And I'm not saying I do that, but there is an element, I think, of that,
there is that.
But anyway, so yeah, that's, not all guys do. And because we're not supposed to is kind of the answer, I guess. But it's not obsessive. And if you personally don't feel comfortable with it, again, it comes down to that. And if a guy doesn't respect your boundaries with it, kick him to the curb. You know what I mean? I've had, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't had a lot of it, and it's just a respect thing. If that's not what it's meant for, so that there's literally no excuse. Okay, next question. My husband doesn't do his fair share of things around the house. How do I get him to do things?
Oh boy.
I think that goes to boundaries and communication.
Yeah. But not sex. Do not reward him with sex.
Get him.
Yeah, this is like this
you
is
do the
like
dishes,
some,
I'll have sex with you.
Yeah, this is like some psychologist Dr. Ray kind of stuff. I just, again, it comes down to communication, maybe a chore chart or some stuff like that. I mean, nowadays, most people are in kind of a 50-50. Both people are working. It's not 50-50 with the money, but both people are working. So like, it's not the way things used to be, where the man was working, and if it's in this relationship, it's a husband and wife, and the wife was a homemaker, and that was her job, and unfortunately, I think there are a fair amount of guys out there that like are still in that old fashioned kind of viewpoint of, and got to talk to them about it. Just have conversations.
Exactly.
I mean, at the end of the day,
have that conversation.
Having come from a relationship like with my ex, it was the exact opposite of this. My ex,
same here,
hardly did anything.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing the dishes, I was cleaning the house, I was mowing I was doing everything, and we both worked. So it wasn't like, she was working, I wasn't. We were both working, I was doing everything, and I think, I did I have that discussion? No, but that was there were whole other reasons for not having that discussion that pertain to that relationship. But having grown and learned from that, you got to have a discussion because it's a partnership, and there should be not even necessarily 50-50, but there should be some communication as to, hey, how are we going to split this up with this relationship? How are we going to make this household work? Who's going to do what? Do we want to rotate? What do we want to do? And just like communicate.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with a chore chart, man.
Exactly. Or like how you feel, right? It's like, like I do this, like it makes me feel this way when that this stuff has to be done, but you wait until I do it or something like that. Being able to have that conversation, which like with what Bob said, I did not have that conversation, and something that I wish I would have done.
Well, there's that adage that, about the honey-do list and the husband getting to it, eventually, maybe 6 months from now, but eventually. And I think that comes down to communication, but I also think that kind of stuff should be gone with. The concept of the honey-do list and those kind of things. If it's going to be a partnership, it's going to be a partnership across the board. So
if you want equality, then it's got to be communicated.
Because nowadays, that whole tool bench work area, that kind of stuff doesn't exist in a lot of modern households. A lot of guys, you don't do that stuff anymore. My dad did. He taught me a lot of that stuff. Jeff, I know you do the woodworking. Adro, you just don't have room for any of that stuff, even if you wanted to. You live in a broom closet.
I've never had growing up. None of my houses have had a garage. So
no. So I think some of the things we can glean from this conversation that we've had for our first Q&A, and we're looking to probably do this once a month, communicate. And that seems to be kind of it. Communicate, and guys aren't as obsessed with sex as we're portrayed to be, and we're not as consistently weird and kinky and horny, and
some of us.
Well, there's a range. There's a range of people. I may or may not be the best lover in Ohio, and condoms. Condoms get large. If we need to do a demonstration with the cucumber, I went to Catholic school, so I never got the demonstration with the cucumber because that was against the faith. I had to wait till college till they showed us how to do it properly. But
surprised you don't got no little Jackson around there.
Right. But anyway, so I think this was a good first go at the audience Q&A. We did have some questions come in from the server. We do have this live on the server where you can communicate. You can be a part of the conversation. We're looking to start live streaming here pretty soon. We don't know exactly where we're going to be live streaming, but obviously we talked about it last week. We can do Facebook, Twitch are the big ones, YouTube. Apparently you can live stream on LinkedIn, which is
nice,
both awesome and sad at the same time.
All my colleagues watching me on a Friday. It'd be awesome.
Whoa. Knocked over my other microphone.
Knocked over something.
Party foul.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for listening to today's episode. Remember to check us out on visibleman.org. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can watch these on YouTube. If you are watching them on YouTube, please thumbs up and subscribe. If you're listening to them, remember to rate, review, and subscribe. That helps other people find the show. We have a Patreon now. We're not giving anything away quite yet. We're still kind of figuring that stuff out, but there's a lot of work that goes into doing these things with VM Live, with the live talks that we do.
Give me away.
And
what a date with Bob.
With the server and everything that we're doing as a whole. So if anybody wants to donate any amount for that, that would be absolutely wonderful. We checking my notes here. So we did the Patreon. The link for that will be in the show notes. Links for all the social media will be in the show notes as well. For VM, this is Jack Rollins reminding you that vulnerability is the ultimate demonstration of strength. Cheers.